You've come to the right place. I have a sheet here for everybody reviewing basically what we're going to cover today. And I have a YouTube drumming channel, but this is for anyone that's interested in pursuing YouTube on any, whatever the topic is. It doesn't have to be specifically drumming. So this is geared towards anyone that might be interested in YouTube, or you're just here for information, excuse me, about YouTube and how YouTube works. YouTube is, it really is an incredible and wonderful platform for creators to put their own material. That's the key. Own material. And I'm going to talk about, as we go through, copyright claims versus copyright strikes, and how we as musicians protect ourselves against scammers, people trying to take copyright, people trying to earn money on YouTube using copyrighted material, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to cover many, many different topics today. Okay, so first off, I'm going to ask you a question. Are any of you currently active YouTubers? This gentleman right here. Anybody else? You are as well. Oh, you never told me that. This is one of my students. You never told me that. Okay, that's very cool. Very cool. All right. Now, the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to YouTube is branding your channel. You've got to come up with some kind of if you could show my brand logo on there, Adam. You've got to come up with some kind of a brand that represents you and what your channel stands for and what you are, your niche. And you have to be specific on YouTube. A lot of reasons why people fail on YouTube is because they are not specific with their niche. So their niche is too broad. Obviously, mine is specific to drumming, but also music. Now, I don't do any other instrument playing on my channel. I only play drums. However, I've done lots of percussion because I also drum kit playing obviously is linked to playing with your hand drums and percussion. So it's basically related to percussion as a whole. But I do talk a lot about music. Now, how to start and pick your niche, like I was just saying. To get started, obviously, you got to sign up on YouTube. You have to set up your channel. You're going to have to do something like this, some kind of an introduction page. You're going to do a little write-up that says who you are, what you're about, what you offer, why you should watch the videos. There's many questions that need to be answered that people are going to want to know right away. Now, the other thing is, can you throw my most recent thumbnail up there, Adam? It's the Happy New Year one. You've got to have thumbnails that are engaging. Ooh, wow. And you want to have thumbnails that show your personality. I'm very outgoing. I'm very comfortable. Right now, I feel very comfortable. Talking in front of people is never something that I've been afraid of or feared. Some people, including my own 15-year-old daughter, dread the microphone, dread being in front of their class. If you want to be a YouTuber and you dread being in front of people, even though you're by yourself potentially when you're filming your videos, and speaking of filming, I'm actually filming this for my YouTube channel right now. So this is also a YouTube video as we're here now. So you can't be afraid to get up and talk in front of the camera, who is your audience. Now, you have to think to yourself, well, how many people are going to watch this? Well, if you talk to Mr. Beast, who's the #1 YouTuber, potentially billions. The whole world, anyone that can tune into YouTube could potentially watch your video. Now, are you going to get billions of views? No. You got to be realistic. I've had videos where I've had 500,000 views. Whoa, crazy. Then I put up a video and get 35 views. And YouTube doesn't care how much work you put into the video. So you could spend days, weeks, putting together what you think is the greatest video ever created for YouTube. You're all excited. You've worked so hard. You put it out, and nothing happens. You get 200, 300, 400 views. Also, YouTube seems to have this shelf life, like records, recordings. The recording industry shelf life is roughly about 3 months. So you put a song out, it gets on the radio, it's being downloaded, it's being streamed, et cetera, et cetera. People are buying it in record form because vinyl's making a comeback. And in that process, it only really lasts about 3 months. Now, there's always exceptions. Of course, the Beatles, Zeppelin, Queen, you name it. Traditional, long-term, legendary bands are going to have streams and downloads forever. But the general shelf life of music, and also YouTube, is even shorter. The shelf life for YouTube, because there's so many videos and there's so many options to choose from, and we've developed into a clicking society where we just go through, especially like shorts, the YouTube shorts, which is a minute or less video. People fly through those shorts. So you've only got a few seconds sometimes to catch people's attention if you're using a short. So you've got to be direct to your point when you're using a short. When you're using a regular form video, which is longer than 1 minute, you can have it as long as you want. I've seen videos on YouTube 12 hours long or even longer. Those sleep ones. So as far as drumming goes, I'm going to give you the history of my channel. My channel's been around for 16, almost 17 years. When I started out, I knew nothing about YouTube. It was YouTube was kind of in its infancy. And I tried to get monetized fairly early on. Monetization back then was kind of a joke. You had to email YouTube and tell them why you think your channel should be monetized. That's pretty much about it. You had to give an explanation. I think my channel's going to blow up. Well, that's not, unfortunately, what YouTube wants to hear, because the word think, or those kind of words YouTube doesn't care about, because they're a company and they want to make money. So you have to understand that YouTube, they want to make money. They're very, very successful. They want to make money. In the process of making money, they're making money on your backs. So that means that they're going to, if you get monetized, they're going to share some of that money with you. So back then, it was difficult to get monetized because you had to come up with some kind of an exceptional reason. They would look at your channel. If your channel was getting lots of views and you were getting subscribers and stuff like that, they did not have a set rate in the early days, but they would then monetize you because the bottom line is, can we make money off this creator? That's all they care about. I know that's harsh, but that's the reality. It's a business. Can we make money off this guy's videos? So at that time, for me, they weren't going to make much money. I was new to YouTube. I didn't know how to film. I didn't know how to lighting. I had no microphones. Playing the drums to a camera mic. I didn't have any professional miking. None of that. So in the early days of YouTube, I just put the videos up for fun. I really didn't take it seriously. They turned me down for my first monetization attempt, and I just carried on. As the years passed, though, YouTube evolved. YouTube changed. And now, to be monetized on YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours for full monetization. They recently introduced a half monetization, if you want to call it. That means that you need to get 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch time hours. And in that case, you can set up a merch shop on the channel, and you can also receive donations from people, because there's a dollar bill sign under every single video you put on YouTube. And in that dollar bill, if you click on it, you can donate to the YouTuber if they have reached that semi or half monetization level. Now, to reach the whole level, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch time hours, then they put ads on your channel that you actually make money from. Now, I know we all hate the YouTube ads, and I hate them too, but as a creator, those ads make me money. So it's a love-hate with the ads. Yes, it's a pain in the butt having to click on, wait for the 30 seconds to go by. Or now I think they're as long as a minute, some of the YouTube ads. Yeah, you got to wait for it. But as a creator, I understand because the creator's making money off having those ads. So as much of a pain that they are, the next time you go on YouTube, think about the fact that the person that's putting this video out is earning some kind of an income. Now, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I don't have any intentions of becoming a full-time YouTuber because it's volatile. So you're monetized on YouTube, you get paid monthly. You sign up with something that's called Google AdSense. Google AdSense monitors all the ads and everything and determines your money, and it's like a bank. So money is constantly going into your Google AdSense account. Constantly. YouTube is constantly sending money. Then when you reach a minimum of $100 monthly, Google AdSense / YouTube, because they're Google and YouTube are the same company, they send you your money. Now, when you get monetized, you have to set up your bank account with them. You have to do, it's direct deposit. So you send, once you're approved, you have to apply after you don't automatically get monetized. That's another thing I'm going to get into in a second. But after you get accepted into the program, you can potentially make a monthly income. And it can range from $100, as I said, to thousands of dollars, depending on views. It's all about views once you get on YouTube and you're monetized. For every single time that somebody clicks on your video and they watch your ads, even if they skip them, you're going to make X amount of dollars. Now, the X amount of dollars is determined by something called RPM, revs per mil. So what that means is you make, let's say, for example, $5 per 1,000 views. Now, revs per mil can change. I put up a video one time and my RPM was $900. And I was like, what? I got to get views on this, you know? But it reduced very quickly. I've also put videos up that I thought were amazing videos that were going to do awesome. Revs per mil, 98 cents. So revs per mil is determined by YouTube, and I don't know how they determine it. It changes, it fluctuates, and I don't know how they come up with that number. But I often check, I don't get crazy with checking my analytics because you'll go nuts checking your analytics and wondering why your video's not doing well. You can't get caught up in that. But occasionally I do check my videos to see what's the rev per mil at, what's the RPM at, to see how much money I can potentially make off that video. But like I said, do not get obsessed about that. Okay, moving along the list here. So let's talk about equipment required. As I said, when I first started out on YouTube, all I had was a drum kit, a pad, and me talking into a crappy phone because this was 17 years ago. I've come a long way since then. Now, I still use a phone for all my videos, but the phone, iPhone particularly, it's so advanced, the camera is so good, it looks pro. So I use an iPhone 16 Pro to film all my YouTube videos. But as you can see, if you look at my phone, there's a little thing sticking out of the end of it. That's a microphone adapter. This is the mic. So you have to invest in good quality mic. Sound is immaculately important or incredibly important if you're a musician. Also for talking. People want to hear you clearly without weird sounds in the background, and they want to be able to hear your drum kit clearly or your percussion instrument clearly as well. So not only do you mic your phone, you got to mic your instrument. And as you can see by this drum kit here, drum mics on the kit. So on my kit, I don't actually use a full drum mic setup like this. I use something called the Yamaha EAD10, which is a microphone and a trigger. The microphone sits on the bass drum hoop right here, and it picks up the entire drum kit. And I can do all kinds of special sounds and effects, so it's kind of like an electronic drum kit in the sense that it changes my acoustic drum kit to the sounds and effects that I want. Now, I also use the EAD10 for recording. When I do studio work and I do it from my home, the producer will say, I want reverb, I want you to put some low-level compression on it. The producer will give me instructions as to what effects he wants on the drum kit. Well, Yamaha EAD10 provides those effects. So I have studio effects on this device, and I have control over how much compression, how much reverb, how much echo. I can change the feel of the room. I can change it to a hall, a theater, an airport. Any kind of a sound that I'm looking for in a specific room, the EAD10 allows me to alter it so that I capture the sound that I'm looking for. So miking, extremely important. Sound, extremely important. Lighting. You have to light yourself up. So you're going to need minimum two large photo type lighting or video type lighting equipment. I can't remember the name of the lights that I use, but they're large lights that, like these, but they're on stands. And they're on either side and sometimes off to the side. Lighting is extremely important, and I've studied it intensely, how to get the good sound and good light. And over years of doing YouTube, I think that I've got my look and sound down. Most people actually compliment me on my sound and my lighting and the way that I can be seen inside of the shot. So setting up the shot is another important thing you need to think about. You don't want to position yourself on weird angles with the device that you're using to film. You want to do a front-on shot, a side shot. You can do direct side shots. You don't want to be too close where the camera's right here just on your head. It's too close. You got to make sure that if you're demonstrating something on the snare drum, you got to make sure that your hands are clearly seen, the snare drum's clearly seen. So there's all these things you got to think about. You got to think about your lighting. How do you look? You got to look for shadows. Adam and I were talking about shadows earlier. I was standing here earlier. I'm in a shadow. Not a good shot. We want to be in the light. So that relates to YouTube as well. You want to make sure. Now, what I've discovered, though, is you have these two giant lights on you, but then I have lights behind me that cast a blue light, just like this. This is exactly what I do, but from the ground up. So these lights are from the ceiling down. I use lights from the ground up. I cast it on the wall behind me. Then I put another small lantern over here. When you have that, you've created an ambiance. You want your audience to be comfortable. You want your audience to look at this video and think, wow, the lighting is cool. That's how you get people to watch you. It's all the little things. Throwing a camera on you and just turning the camera on with no lighting, no audio, you're just not going to get views. Now, there are exceptions. There's always exceptions to every rule. But generally speaking, as a musician, and I've had comments over the years on my channel, you're supposed to be a musician. How come your sound isn't very good? Well, I took that to heart and said, well, we're going to make some changes, and I improved my sound. Now, nobody complains about anything that I'm doing on YouTube. Now, it's a learning curve. Almost 17 years ago, starting out, it was terrible. It was a joke when I look back on those videos, I almost laugh because I didn't know anything. Now, I consider myself somewhat of an expert on this whole YouTube thing after so many videos. I think my channel has currently about 660 or 70 videos. I used to have over 1,000. But I'm going to talk about why I don't have over 1,000, why I got rid of so many. The reason is when I got monetized, I had hundreds and hundreds of copyrighted videos on my channel. Ooh, bad boy. YouTube doesn't like copyrights. So what is a copyright? If, let's say, I'm going to pick this example because this is the most hardcore of all artists out there, the Eagles. Do you guys know the Eagles? The band The Eagles. Okay. The band The Eagles is number one out of all the artists in the world for being very fussy and particular about copyrights. You will never win against the Eagles. Now, their AC/DC is really hardcore. Nirvana, all the really big name bands, because everybody's trying to copy them. The Beatles, they're all really hardcore because they don't want people making money off of their music, because that's basically what you're doing. So I used to do play-alongs. Put a song on. You guys in my classes, I'm always playing along with songs and demonstrating various grooves inside of songs. Well, I do that on YouTube as well. But you're going to get a copyright claim. As soon as you upload your video, the bot analyzes your video, audio, and visual. And anything that it considers to be not yours, somebody else's, you're going to get a copyright claim every single time. There's no way to avoid it. You cannot think that you can fool YouTube. That's another thing I learned the hard way. YouTube, these guys, they're brilliant. They know every trick. They know every scam. They know when you're getting your grandmother to loop your videos for 24 hours straight so you get more views. They know when Granny is not really watching the videos. They know. I found that out the hard way, calling up my daughters. Put my video on, put it on loop, watch it over and over and over all day long. I actually got called out on that by YouTube. They actually sent me a message saying, we know what you're up to. So, you cannot fool YouTube. Don't even think you can. Another thing about copyright claims is the strike. Ooh. You don't want copyright strikes. That's a step up. So, if you put Eagles song out, he's so hardcore. The drummer from the Eagles is the guy that runs all this. He's adamant about nobody is going to use my music. Adamant. He's now issuing strikes to anyone that does a play along, guitar, bass, keyboards, vocals, drums, you name it. Any instrument that plays an Eagles song was going to be getting a strike. The strike is bad. That's danger. 3 strikes and you're out. It's like a baseball game. YouTube gives you 3 strikes. They eliminate your channel, and it's gone. And if you're someone like me that earns money monthly from YouTube, that's bad. I don't really rely on the money. I use the money as like extra. I have to buy a new microphone, which I just did, actually. It's coming on Monday. Because as a backup for this one, because this one's a magnet, but I lost one of the magnets, and I was like, oh no, if I lose the magnets, I'm in big trouble. So I decided to buy a second microphone as backup in case I lose the magnet. So you want to avoid strikes at all costs. How do you get a strike? Well, YouTube has a very strict policy, not just the Eagles drummer have a strict policy, but YouTube has a strict policy. You're not allowed to put on, violence, hurting animals or people, war, scenes of war, any kind of violence you're not allowed. Of course, language, which they've changed a little bit on the language thing, but previously they had these strange rules that no swearing the first 8 seconds of your video. Now, they've changed that, and because I guess creators complained, one thing about being a creator, we actually have access to YouTube, meaning we can contact them. If you're not in the YouTube program, you cannot contact them. It's almost impossible to get a hold of Google or YouTube unless you're a creator. As soon as you get accepted into their program, not just a creator. But once you're in your program, then you can contact them. And they, of course, contact you. You get regular correspondence. You can ask them questions, anything. And they're very, very, very good at responding. Very good. So they take their creators seriously, and they treat us really well. But don't break the rules. So that's the next thing I want to talk about. You break rules on YouTube, they can do what they want. They can pull your channel down. You think that, it's fine what you did, but if YouTube says that it's not fine, channel's gone. So you got to be very, very cautious that you don't put videos up of you doing dumb things. There's a lot of dumb thing videos on YouTube. But if it shows, dangerous things where people get hurt and stuff, like really hurt, they don't like that at all. Now, for me, I've never received a strike. I've received hundreds of claims because I did so many play-alongs. I was very nervous when I was going to get monetized that they're going to see hundreds of claims on my channel. That's why I deleted them all, so that I wouldn't have any problem getting monetized. I had no issues on my channel other than all those copyrights. So on my channel currently, out of the 680 videos or so I have, I don't think I have maybe 2 or 3 videos of me actually playing with a song. Only because I worked so hard on that video that I just couldn't take it down. There's this one video of me playing a Rush medley. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the band Rush, the music is extremely complicated. It's very difficult to play. I was fortunate enough that I still do a lot of tribute bands because I like playing in tribute bands anyways. I used to play in a Rush tribute band, so I was familiar with their music. The music is very complicated to learn from the beginning. It's really difficult to duplicate what Neil does. And for those of you that don't know me, Neil Peart is my favorite drummer. I've always idolized him. And I tell a story on YouTube about the time that I met Neil at Terry Brown's house. And Terry Brown was the producer for Rush. So I actually got to work with Terry Brown, drumming on some tracks that Terry was producing. And after I got that work, and actually Neil came to the house, and can you imagine your idol comes and, oh, can I hear the music? And I'm like, what? You want to hear the music? Neil puts on the music that I was just recording. Terry puts it on. Neil listens to it. And I'm like, Neil's not supposed to be listening to me. I'm supposed to be listening to Neil. That's the way this works. Well, Neil ended up really loving it. And he was very complimentary to me, which blew my mind. This is my idol. And I got to meet him. He was wonderful. There's always that don't meet your idols danger. Neil was not like that. He was wonderful. I was told by Terry when he told me that Neil was coming over not to be a fanboy. Neil doesn't like that. Neil does not like people going crazy. Oh my God, it's Neil Peart. You're my idol. He said, treat Neil like a peer. That was very difficult for me to do. Imagine Michael Jackson walked in here right now. Oh, hi, Michael. We're best friends. Just try and treat him like a peer. Michael Jackson walks in, you're going to have a meltdown. So luckily, I was able to keep my head together, and I just talked to Neil. We talked about the recording that I was doing. He was interested in what I was doing. He didn't even want to talk about anything he was doing. He was interested, what kind of drums, what are you using, what kind of sticks, what kind of microphones are you using? It was all about me when I was talking to Neil, and that was really quite shocking. So I did a video talking about that. That video did really well. People were really interested to hear a story. Now, another thing about YouTube is sometimes you're going to have videos, like I said, that do really well, and sometimes they do badly. So over the 17 years of being on YouTube, I've learned that, some things work, some things don't. So you go through cycles. So I'm a drummer. I do reviews, gear reviews. Oh, if you can sort of see it up there. So a gear review is, I got a snare drum, sonar drums, I review the drum, I play it, I talk about it, I give the specs on the drum, etc., etc. So I do gear reviews, cymbals, drums, bass drum pedals, all the equipment. As drummers, we love gear. I love talking about cymbals. When I put the camera on me and I talking about this fantastic instrument, it's nothing for me. I can ramble on and on about it all day. So I enjoy doing gear reviews. I used to enjoy, which I don't do anymore, is the playthroughs. I used to love playing along with songs on YouTube, in my basement, wherever, and putting them on YouTube. But like I said, the copyright claim thing, I just don't do that anymore. Of course, lessons. I'm a drum teacher. That's what I do. So I have tons and tons of drum lessons. But the lessons started to die down for me, meaning that when I used to get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 views on a molar stroke lesson, so a complete lesson on developing your molar stroke. And then I would put a lesson out on developing whatever. And it started to drop. So then it's like, okay, well, channel's starting to go down. Got to change it up. So one day, something happened to me and I just went into a rant. So I was really frustrated because musicians are grossly underpaid, generally speaking. In 1985, when I was 20 years old, just said how I'm really old, sorry about that. When I was 20 years old in 1985, making $100 a night in a gig in a bar was good money. 20 years old, I was playing 4 or 5 nights a week, making $500 a week. My mom thought I was a rock star. And in my mom's eyes, that was important to me. I'm a rock star, Mom. I'm a rock star. So she didn't hassle me about getting a job at the local variety store or the local gas station because I was making way more money. People were making $3 an hour back then. So I'm doing a gig making $100 an hour. Guess what? 2026? Guess what musicians get paid? $100. Nothing has changed for bar gigs. Now, that being said, I've done lots of bar gigs where I got paid more because the band that I was in had a following or some kind of fame, or the band was popular. So there was a demand for the band. So when a bar wanted us to come in, our agent was able to negotiate a higher wage. So then, maybe I make $200 or $250 for the night. The band makes $1,000 for the night. Bands are grossly underpaid. As a result, for the last number of years, I have not done any bar gigs. They just don't. It's a 12-hour day on a gig. That's a whole separate topic. But to organize and get prepared and do everything you need to do to play just one gig and only make $100 is roughly 12 hours. Now, I have performed approximately 5,000 gigs in my life. I was a touring musician for the majority of my life. And being a touring musician and also spending 8 months on 2 separate times on a cruise ship, playing 3 shows a day, 6, 7 days a week, you're going to add up the number of gigs. Just think about those numbers. Touring musician playing 4 to 6 nights a week, year in, year out. Sometimes even on Christmas Day. I once did a gig on Christmas Day. That's a whole different story. So, you have to be able to be flexible on YouTube. The lessons weren't working. I'm getting copyright claims on my performing. So I got to do something else. So back to my story. I'm ranting and raving and I'm angry about, I'm not doing this bar gig. My agent contacts me. Oh, this band's desperate for a sub drummer. They're willing to pay you $150. Ooh, $50 more. Wow. I'm at the point now in my life where I'm an established professional musician. I'm not working for $100. Try to get an electrician or a plumber, for you adults here that hire workers. You think an electrician's going to come over to your house for $50 to set up an entire light system through your house, or a plumber's going to fix all your toilets and stuff for $50, $100? Forget it. They demand a very high pay. Very high pay because it's a very skilled service. Well, guess what? Musicians are also a super skilled and highly regarded in our field, anyways, maybe not to the public, but to our field, we're very highly regarded. We spend hours, years, decades working our craft to develop the skill level to be able to present to an audience and entertain. So we deserve to be paid just like the electrician, just like the plumber. And I'm adamant about this. So anyways, I'm ranting about this. My wife says, why don't you go do a YouTube video about instead of ranting to me, go and tell your audience. So I set up a camera in my backyard and I just go off about how there's no money in Ontario, probably anywhere, but I made it to Ontario because I know Ontario the best, because I played everywhere in Ontario. In Ontario, musicians playing in bars are not getting paid well. They're getting paid the same thing I made in 1985. Nothing's changed. Every other job, the income has gone up except for us musicians. That video did extremely well. That one video sparked a whole new and different change to my channel. People like complaining. People like it when you go on and you tell stories about being a musician. So my channel completely changed on that day. So that was 2 years ago. Since then, I said to my wife, I've had so much touring. I got so many crazy stories about life as a musician and things that have happened to me, you know, playing a gig, looking out the window, and kids are getting arrested by the police 10 feet away from me outside, and they're throwing snowballs at the police, and they're getting arrested, and fights, you know, bar fights. I remember doing a gig in Arkansas, showing up, and chicken wire on the stage. So chicken wire is this fine, sort of closely knit wire that prevents people from throwing stuff at you. So as soon as you walk into a bar and you see chicken wire, oh, this is a dangerous place. And I can remember the manager coming over saying, you boys better play country music or they're gonna throw stuff at you. And we're like, we're a rock band. So literally backstage, before we go on, you guys know any country songs? And we're back there, yeah, I know this one and I know that one, and we're trying to figure out, in the heat of the moment, figure out 5 or 6 country songs. Now, nothing against country music. I actually like country music, but they're very simple songs. So we were able to put 5 or 6 country tunes together along with our regular set, and we just put them in. We did not get anything thrown at us. The chicken wire was unnecessary. However, there was still lots of crazy fights and nonsense that went on in this bar in Arkansas. So my channel evolved into me telling stories. And my channel took off. I got thousands of subscribers. People, they say to me, Tim, the secret sauce to your channel is you getting in front of a microphone and telling stories about what it was like to be on the road as a musician. Now, some of the stories, I'm going to be honest, I could not tell. Because YouTube would frown upon some of the things I had to say about some of the things that I witnessed on being on tour, because I did see some alarming things, if you want to call it, being a musician out on tour. But one thing that I did talk about that is also alarming was the alcohol and drug abuse that I witnessed over many, many years. Now, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I'd never in my life have done any form of drugs other than prescription from my doctor. And that's dangerous. Those drugs can be dangerous too. Don't do drugs, kids. That's my message. So anybody here familiar with the band Teenage Head? Okay. I was friends with the singer from Teenage Head. He saw me on a gig one time, and he's like, man, I want you to come and play with us. They already had a drummer. But he's like, I want you to come and play with us. I really like the way you play, blah, blah, blah. But I said to him, I go, well, Frankie, you've already got a drummer. Yeah, but we want you to come and play anyways. So I would sub in with Teenage Head. Now, these guys would get hammered, drunk like you wouldn't believe, falling off the stage, stumbling around. And I would be like, how do these guys do what they do? Well, they can't even speak. They're like this, you know, they're drunk. But they could do it because they're playing the same songs night after night, repetition. They didn't even have to think about what they were doing. And they were drunks, I'm sorry to say, but this was the truth. So I would tell on my channel stories about my life playing with these kinds of artists. Now, I'm sober. And they would say to me, I can remember the guitar player saying to me, how can you play without being high or drunk? How can you do that? And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't like being high and drunk. That's number one. It's not my thing. Secondly, I'm a professional, and as far as I'm concerned, even though music is an exception, I don't think you should be drunk on the job. Now, lots of musicians get drunk on the job. I witnessed that daily with a lot of the bands that I played with over the years. But that was never for me. So anyways, I would tell all these stories about all these different things that happened to me. Funny things, crazy weather events, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And that had a shelf life of about 2 years. I noticed my last few videos have dropped down dramatically. Now, it's partially because, I'm going to be totally honest with you, I was busy doing other things. You have to put the time and effort into YouTube anytime that you want to succeed. There are times when I push YouTube, I'm cranking the videos out, I'm doing my thing, but I'm also managing my life around YouTube. I'm playing gigs, I'm doing studio work, I'm teaching, but I'm teaching 7 days a week now, plus I've become an in-demand studio musician. I don't do live gigs anymore. I'm 61 years old, I retired from live performance after 40 years of touring and playing live. I don't do it anymore. And, you know, I've been there, done that. I miss it. I do enjoy playing live. I love the feeling of an audience interacting with a band. I actually lived for that feeling. That was my drug, was the high that I would get from being in front of people like you, performing, seeing you react to it, the excitement that is caused from being on stage is unparalleled to any other form of excitement, in my opinion. You will never achieve the high from this instrument on stage in front of an audience drinking alcohol or doing drugs. You will never, ever achieve that. The real incredible feeling that you get, I'm getting it right now. It's a buzz. I'm getting it right now. Being on stage and thinking about playing this instrument really excites me. And that's why I've never been afraid to be on stage. I enjoy being on stage. I've been a born performer. Ever since I was 3 years old, I discovered the love of music. And YouTube has allowed me to talk about and show my love of music and express my love of music to the world. So that's the beauty of YouTube. Now, I forgot to mention to you guys, if anyone has a question at any time, feel free to ask about, yes?
Have you ever considered using meta glasses? Because they're becoming so popular while filming some of your videos.
No, I never. As a matter of fact, that's the first time anyone's ever even said that to me. Or what is it? What, I don't even know what that is. What are meta glasses?
They're just glasses and they have cameras built in.
Oh,
so it's a different view.
Okay, I did see that. I saw that in a YouTube video, coincidentally. But no, I never have. No. Something to consider. I mean, I'm always open to, you have to move forward in this world. You cannot stick back sometimes with, 1970s type mentality or whatever. You've got to move forward. So yeah, I'm open to that. Anyone else? Any questions at any time? Feel free to put your hand up. I have no problem with that. Okay, so let's talk about association with companies. That's the next step. And safety in regards to that. This is very, very important. A lot of people get badly taken in this area. So this is something you really want to pay attention to. What's going to happen is, as you develop a following, you got subscribers, you got views, people are interested in you. YouTube notices this. Other people notice this too. Companies notice this. So the next thing you know, I get an email from Sabian Cymbals, Yamaha Drums, Zildjian symbols, Rhodes microphones, camera companies, lighting companies. They get all these emails. We're interested in paying you money to advertise on your channel. So what that means is you actually do a video. If you guys ever seen a video where there's a YouTuber doing his thing, he's doing a video, and then all of a sudden, he's talking about a product. He's got a product in front of him, and he's talking about the product. Well, that's a collaboration with a company. The company is paying him to do that 30-second or 1-minute little commercial. So I've had lots of companies contact me about this, but there's a danger in this, okay? Now, if you legitimately get contacted by Yamaha drums, let's just say, and it is in fact Yamaha drums, you then negotiate a deal with them. So they might be willing to pay you $5,000 and you do X number of these commercials and you put them on your channel, and they give you a sort of you say what you want to say. You still got to be you, but they give you points. Make sure you say this, 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 and this, and this about our product. This is what we want you to push out. Do it in the Tim Conley Drums way. Do it your style, but make sure these points are in there. So you do up a video, and you send it to them. They have to approve it because you're talking about their product. Once you get the approval and you sign all the contracts, the deal is done, boom, they pay you. They do a direct deposit of $5,000 into your account. You've signed a contract. You make sure you follow the contract. It can be canceled at any time if you do not follow the stipulation and the rules of that contract. It's very important. If they say you got to do 10 videos, do 10 videos. Because they won't say, well, you only did 9, so we're going to take $1,000 back. No, no, no. They're taking the entire $5,000 back. They're going to sue you. You're going to be into a whole mess. And they got money. These are companies with money. You don't want to mess with them in terms of getting into lawsuits and stuff. So, the danger. I get scam emails daily. As a matter of fact, I got one yesterday from Rhodes Microphones. So Rhodes Microphones, a very, very popular microphone company, and I actually have a Rhodes microphone that I use at home. This isn't Rhodes, this is Holly Rode, the mic I'm using today here. But Rhodes is a very popular company. I got a scam email. So you have to determine, is it a scam email or is it a real thing? So you do not ever click on, they'll say, to see the contract, here's the link. Because they'll say, Tim Conley Drums, we watch your channel, we really like what you do, we think you're going to be a good fit for our company, we would love to entertain talking to you, and they give you this big long spiel, you read it and you think, oh wow, a company's interested in me, I'm going to make more money, awesome. It's not really the company. Always contact the actual company. Also, in these emails, the grammar is often incorrect. My wife's a teacher, so she'll review all messages I get. If she sees even a single mistake in there, it's a scam. Now, I got one yesterday from Rhodes, and the English language was not this person typing out the video to me, his first language. There were so many mistakes, it was obvious. I didn't have to say, hey, Kim, can you take a look at this, see if it's fake or not? I could tell immediately it's a scam email. Now, the danger of the scam, a guy that I know, Joe Robinet, he's big YouTuber, but his channel started to drop. Next thing you know, he gets an email from a company. Joe, we're interested in having you do an advertisement for us. We're going to pay you, X amount of dollars. Click on the link here, and we're going to review the contract, but then call us. Here's the number, and we're going to talk to you about negotiating. So he thought it was legit. He stupidly clicked on it. They stole his channel within 30 minutes. I think his channel was gone. They went into his AdSense account. Do you remember how I said AdSense always has money accumulating and you get paid out monthly? Stole all the money out of his AdSense account, went into his bank account, his home, like your personal bank account, liquidated all his bank accounts, got all his credit card information, went out and loaded up all the credit cards buying stuff. These people are professional scammers. You've got to be aware of this. Now, I almost got scammed once in the early days, But once, back in the early days, there was no links. They had to snail mail me the information. When they snail mailed me the information, I realized something's wrong here. Something is wrong with this. This doesn't look right. So I did not buy into the scam. They've modernized now, and if you click on that link, they got you. There's no going back. Now, Joe managed to, he lost all that money. That money is gone. And this is a guy that's popular on YouTube. So he had thousands of dollars in his AdSense account. He's popular on YouTube. He managed to get his YouTube channel back. They stole it. It took him 2 months. He managed to get it back. YouTube got it back. He also had to do hundreds of emails with YouTube in communication. And he had problems getting a hold of YouTube because his channel's gone. Remember how I said earlier, only creators with an active channel can contact YouTube. If you were to go out there right now, go on a computer, try to get a hold of YouTube, not going to happen. You got to be a creator. So because Joe's channel's gone, how the heck do I get a hold of YouTube? Well, he had to go to his friends, who's also a creator, and through his friend, he was emailing YouTube. They managed to track it down. I don't know the computer lingo or whatever for how they got his channel back, but he got his channel back. He lost thousands and thousands of dollars, but he was very happy that at least he got his channel back. And he changed all his passwords and he carries on. So YouTube and the internet is a dangerous world. You've got to be careful. And you've got to be careful sometimes what videos you watch. YouTube is very, very good at analyzing the videos and making sure that the material that kids particularly watch is suitable for them. But there's always going to be one that could potentially slip through. So you've got to be safe as a viewer and a YouTuber, okay? All right, now let's talk about merch. Ooh, Tim Conley Drums merch available at my YouTube channel. So when you are monetized at the lower level, which is the 500 subs, 3,000 watch time hours, you can then link any kind of a company, including one that you develop yourself, that sells your merchandise, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, socks, pants, you name it, jackets, whatever. If you have a clothing line, you can link it to your YouTube channel. People can then click on it, and they can purchase your merch. Now, my advice is if you're on YouTube and you immediately get monetized, like meaning that you've only got 1,000 subs and you've only just met the 4,000 number of views, you're not going to sell any merch. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's this thing that I'm going to put the merch on and 1,000 people are going to buy my t-shirts. That does not happen. It's not until you're much bigger. I hate to say it, but generally speaking, only the bigger YouTubers really truly sell a lot of merch. In 2025, I did $5,500 in merch. That's pretty good for I'm a small YouTuber. That's pretty good. So Tim Conley Drums sold $5,500 worth of water bottles and t-shirts and hats, mainly t-shirts and hats and hoodies, to be totally honest. That's the main thing that sold for me. But hey, that's $5,500 tacked on to the money that I made from YouTube. So it's a business. So you have to think from a businessman's perspective or businesswoman's perspective. Now, if you're a child, I think I was telling you our lesson about children who make a lot of money on YouTube. Obviously, the parents are involved. It's not the kid. The kid does the video. Like, for example, the video gaming videos are huge. Some of the biggest earners on YouTube, this blows my mind, is a 10-year-old kid playing a video game. And all he's doing is, okay, I'm talking while I'm playing. He plays the game and he talks about the game and he plays. And the camera shows this kid playing. Thousands and thousands and hundreds, millions of views of this kid playing a game. So the kid gets monetized. The parents are making a killing because this kid just doing his thing. He's going to play the video games whether it's being filmed or not. And the kid makes money like crazy doing that. And the other thing that kids do really well is toy reviews. Kids get up there and here, I just bought this new dinosaur toy, and he unboxes it and he shows you how the toy moves and what the toy does. He makes money. Now, obviously, the parents are responsible for that child's safety and whatnot. So the parents set up an AdSense account. They go through all that, and they have money that they deposit into the kid's bank account, and some parents live off of the YouTube money. Now, like I said earlier, I choose not to do YouTube as a full-time job because it's volatile. 1 month I could make $3,000. The next month I could make $300. Because of that volatility, and as an adult, I got mortgage to pay and bills to pay, I can't have that. You have to have a steady income to be able to support your family. You know, I have 4 children, 2 adult children. They're going to be supporting me soon. And I have 3 adult children. My son just turned 20. Oh, my God. And I have 1 teenage daughter. So still looking after her. So because of that volatility, I choose not to do that. Okay.
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
We are just approaching 12, eh? So
Okay.
We got, maybe 5-10 minutes left.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent, thank you. Endorsement opportunities. Oh, question, yes.
How much did you spend on the YouTube, like all the filming thing?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I don't know the exact number, but I've spent thousands. I'm not gonna lie. When you're starting out, you don't have to spend thousands, but you gotta remember the drum kit. The drum kit alone. I have a drum kit at home that's worth $6,000. So the drum kit alone. Now I'm gonna have that drum kit whether I got YouTube or not, because that's my job. My job is to play this instrument, right? So lighting, microphone. You've got to have an area to film in. There's another teacher here for those of you that know Matt. Matt rents a space, and he films all his videos, and it's a practice room, and he rents the space to film his YouTube videos. So there's that. Now, I film everything in my home because I have a drum studio that I built in my home, a lesson studio, and also a recording studio at my house. So I film all my videos at home. So I'm going to be paying that mortgage whether I have a YouTube channel or not. So I'm not going to count that. But you've got lighting. You've got the time. Time is worth money. Even though you're not actually maybe necessarily getting paid in the moment of filming and whatever, the payment comes down the road. So there's the element of time. Like I said, you could put days, hours, weeks into a project and only make 25 bucks. Or you throw a microphone on and rant about how nobody pays me enough money, and then you get a check at the end of the month, or not a check, a direct deposit for $1,500 that you didn't even think you were gonna get, because YouTube pays a variety. So in all, you know, you gotta upgrade equipment too, things break. That microphone there, it fell over and it bent. That's why, and I also lost one of my magnets. So that's why I had to buy another mic. Those mics aren't cheap, they're about 250 bucks. So it's an ongoing thing where you're always buying equipment, you're always buying gear. Now, I've made arrangements with companies. Companies have been welcoming me that they actually pay me to talk about their gear. So they give me the snare drum and say, here's the snare drum, go and do a video on it. Here's the points. Remember I said about that, you get involved with companies. Legitimate companies. And I always contact the companies and say, you know, Aaron from your company contacted me. Here's the email. Is this legit? And never contact the company through the link that you get emailed from the scammer, because that's going to be a scam company too. Because sometimes people will click on that to see, is this company legit? Well, they'll have the most legit looking web page, and you think it's real, and it's not. It's fake. So always deal directly with the real company to make sure you're not going to get taken. It's really important. So when I've actually collaborated with companies, I've always done it with companies that I know is real and I trust. And I'll even, on occasion, if the company is actually, you know, within distance, I'll actually go to the company and make sure that I'm not getting scammed, because I'm not losing my channel. Now, if the company's in Montreal or something, I'm not going to do that, but you know what I mean. So I've spent thousands over the years for all the instrumentation, all the mics, all the time, because like I said, time is worth money, all the lighting, just all the things involved in production. For, like, you have to have the phone, the iPhone. You have to have an app that you got to pay for on the iPhone to edit your videos. Okay? Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is how to be successful on YouTube. If you're actually considering doing a YouTube channel for anything, this doesn't just mean drumming, you've got to learn to evolve and go with the flow. Like this lady right here mentioned about these glasses. I've never heard of them, but now she sparked interest. I'm going to check them out. You know, you've got to be able to go with the times. You've got to be able to move forward. My drum teacher of 16 years, Dom Famulero, always, jammed this into my head. Do not be stuck in a time period when it comes to developing your channel and developing your skills as a musician and whatnot. Always be evolving, always be changing. So that's what I do with my channel. I'm stepping back to the roots of my channel starting today. I'm going to shoot a video. I'm going to go back to what I started doing on lesson 1, teaching very simple beats. So today I'm doing a video when I get home later, and the video is going to be on very simple 8th note groove. So I'm going back to my roots because I'm always evolving. And sometimes, as adults will tell you, what's old is new. Sometimes fashion trends come back. Sometimes old things come back. So what I used to do on my channel, I'm now going to restart again, which is lessons, because I haven't done lessons on my channel for quite some time. So I'm going to restart that. All right. Do we have any questions? Yes.
What app do you use for editing? You mentioned
Yes. Sometimes I use GarageBand. Most times, believe it or not, I use the app that just comes with the phone. I think it's called iMovie, yeah. Quite often I use iMovie because it's effective. It does what I need it to do. I haven't spent that's one thing I haven't spent a lot of money on is crazy editing software. I'm no computer genius. Now, I've become a master at Canva. Canva is the thing where you design your pictures, you can do videos and stuff. I've become really good at Canva, and I have become really good at editing, but editing using only a couple of different small GarageBand when I'm using my drum kit, and if I'm just talking iMovie. And I've used a couple of other ones, I can't remember what they're called. The one on a Mac computer that's also built in, I think it's iMovie as well, but it's better than the iMovie on the phone. Yeah. So I also learned a lot from my son. As adults, if your teenager wants to show you how to use the computer, listen to them. They're geniuses compared to us old folks. Geniuses. My son, when he was like 12 years old, he had zero patience for teaching me how to do anything in terms of editing. He would just say, just give it to me, let me do it. There, it's done. He would edit, because my son's a YouTuber as well. He's been a YouTuber since he was like 6 years old. This kid can edit movies like you wouldn't believe. It looks like a Hollywood production. His skills are so high. Now, I learned from him, not because he had the patience to show me, but I would watch him and I would see what he was doing. He had no patience. Sometimes I'd watch him actually physically editing. He would be doing things so quickly. I'm like, what the heck? What did you just do? How did you get that effect? What did you do? And he would show me. But again, he'd show me at what I call teenage speed, which is fast. Yeah, you do this, you push this, you go here, you do that. So it's hard to learn from him because he has no patience to teach the old man. However, I turned to YouTube to learn how to edit. YouTube taught me how to edit. And editing is extremely, extremely important. Lately, I've been getting people on my channel saying, hey, Tim, your editing skills are really, really good. You've really improved over the years. Best comment ever. Okay, any other questions? We're going to wrap it up. Yes, sir.
Do you learn how to edit or like how to change the sound effect on YouTube or something else?
Yes, you can watch YouTube videos for any form of edit. How to edit a YouTube video is on YouTube, and you can watch step by step. It'll tell you what apps they recommend. Canva, which is you put your logo together, like I put all this together, right? Everything is put together. That picture, obviously, you get it from your phone, you take a picture of yourself, and that's me at my drum kit, and I put it on a stage, and then I built all the rest on Canva. So I've become really, really good at Canva. Actually, my son even says to me, you're doing well with that Canva thing. I'm better than him at Canva, so I'm better than him at something. But teenagers like yourself, how old are you now? 12, a preteen. You're probably a computer whiz, though. Is he a computer whiz, Mom? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, yeah. Okay, all right, any more questions? Anyone? All right, thank you very much for having me here today. I hope that you learned a thing or two about being a YouTuber, not just a YouTube drummer. In closing, I'm just going to play a little bit, and we're out of here.